Oh, those are good jokes. All right, and I want to just point out clean jokes, right? And hilarious. So we're gonna go over the second example that we started the first one. We finished the first one yesterday. We're gonna go over the second example. Then we're gonna go over a couple of conversions. Then I'm gonna give you an assignment. So here we go. X-rays can penetrate body tissues and are widely used to diagnose and treat disorders of internal body structures.
Oh my god.
Yeah, who cares, right? What is the frequency of an X-ray with a wavelength of 1.15 times 10 to the negative 10 meters? So, I want you to turn to the back of the second page. So do you see the equation that you wrote? Yeah. It is a conversion between frequency and wavelength. So we're going to use that equation to solve this problem. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the information out of my problem like I always do. I have a wavelength of 1.15 times 10 to the negative 10 meters. The frequency is what I'm looking for, and C is a constant. It doesn't change. It's the same value every time. It's on that same page, 3.00 times 10 to the 8 meters per second. Does everybody see where I got that number?
Just write this down.
It's up to you. I mean, this is just part of your notes. It's up to you. Did you write it down in your packet? That the formula that I'm going to write up here now? How did I get what? Did somebody say, how did you get?
How did you get a negative 10 in the calculator?
Yeah. So I'm going to talk to you about that here in just a moment.
She's going to answer.
Yeah. I'm going to talk to you guys about that here in just a moment. That's why I had to get a calculator from the beginning. But let's wait until we've got it all set up first. Okay? So, this is a very straightforward 3-variable equation, but students, they freak out about it because it's got letters in it instead of numbers. And they're Greek letters, so they're not even like what we typically see. So, I'm looking for frequency. That's the thing that looks like a V. I'm going to go ahead and rearrange my equation to solve for frequency. Frequency and wavelength are multiplied together, so I'm going to divide both sides by wavelength. My wavelengths cancel out, and I'm left with the frequency equals C divided by the wavelength. Does that make sense to everyone? Do you have questions about that?
My brain just, I mean, I understand that. It's like telling me that's not allowed to happen. Like, it's just something you just don't do. I've never just crossed it out before.
Well, wavelength divided by wavelength is 1.
So it goes one frequency?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, they don't disappear. We leave a 1 behind.
Yeah. So you just put a 1 in front of the frequency?
You can, yeah.
Okay.
But all of those variables, there's understood to be a coefficient of 1. So whether we write it or not, it's always there.
So you're just left with the 3 times 10 to the power of 8 divided by
Yeah. So now let's go ahead and put the numbers in here. So we've got frequency equals 3.00 times 10 to the 8 meters per second. And we're going to divide that by the 1.15 times 10 to the negative 10 meters. And now it's just a math problem. Okay? So let's talk about the math. If you have a calculator that looks like this, what I'm going to tell you to do, that's going to apply to this calculator. If you do not have the calculator that looks like this, then I'm going to have to tell you specifically for your calculator. Okay? Now, I talked to Mr. Bodemiller this morning, and one of the things that he said was he has everybody put everything in parentheses. Is that true? Good, I don't think you would like me. The problem with parentheses is like, we have, in science especially, we have a lot of stuff that we're typing in at one time, and I always end up with an extra parenthesis somewhere, and then I hit enter, and it gives me a syntax error. That drives me absolutely batty, especially after I've carefully entered everything. So I don't like to use those parentheses. There's a different way we do this. So what I'm gonna do is, if you have this calculator, I want you to enter this information as I say it, okay? You're gonna type in 3.00. Yeah, I always do that, and then I'm halfway through and I don't have it on. Then you're gonna push the second button, the one that's up here in the corner. And then you're gonna push the X to the -1. Did it put in a little capital E?
Where's it?
I'm gonna go get mine. Well, then look. I know, we don't have the
It's
same.
above the 7.
We have the -1, the E. Yes.
Second.
We have the
Second.
second.
Did everybody see the big little E? The little big E is what I meant to say. Okay, so that means times 10. And now the exponent is tied to it. You just put in your 8. That ties it all together. You don't have to use parentheses. The 3 and the 8, they go together. They're tied together with that E. And all it means is times 10. And you just have to put in your exponent. So then if you hit enter, it's gonna give you that number back that's not in scientific notation. It's gonna give you a 3 with 8 zeros after it.
I got something in here.
You got what?
I got an error.
So did I. So did I.
Did you put in the 8?
No.
You gotta put in 3.00, that E, and then the 8.
Yeah, now I'm like.
Give it
Do I put the
a-
error before the 8?
You put a second.
Did you just give me? Did you? You're not cool.
Here.
I should have carried.
And then that way, just put it in the other.
Okay, so 3.0.
Okay, so give that a try. So did you get what you were supposed to get?
I didn't have to do it, but I got, why would, why not?
Why don't you wait? Because it's already.
You get the same answer. Are you okay? 0 times 10 to the 8. Like here and then.
Okay.
And then we get negative.
You can't answer.
Hey. So good.
Sometimes. Yep, that's it. A 3 with 10, with 8 zeros after it. Now, the problem with using times 10 with the caret is that if you don't get your parentheses in the right places, you're gonna get the wrong answer almost every time.
I didn't use parentheses, I still got the same answer.
For that one you will, but when you start to do math operations with it, that's not gonna be the case. Did you figure it out? Okay, so, anybody else?
Yeah,
I don't know how to do it this time.
Okay, so 3.00 E 8 divided by.
Is that what it's supposed to say?
Should we do the top first and then
Okay.
the bottom and then the
You were
bottom?
right when you did that.
You don't have to push second because your button is,
So I just did 3 point. Hit that button.
Mm-hmm.
That.
No, put 8.
yep.
Hit E.
Okay, so here's the answer. What I want you to do is give it a try and see, put this in and see if you get that answer.
So we just go back and retype it?
Yep.
What do we got the top on? First and only question we're gonna rank this whole year.
Like, put in the fraction of numbers, see if there was this, v equals 3.00 times 10 to the 8 divided by 1.15. Put all that in and see if you get the answer that I got.
Okay, I get,
See, that,
You're dividing.
so you add the,
I know you're dividing.
this is what I,
That just don't cut.
which I think it is what it is. Good, good.
Oh, yeah.
You put in
And then divide by that.
10 to the, you put in 10 to the 10, it looks like.
You're fine. How she got the hurt?
Oh, no. See up there in the fractions, 10 to the 10?
Why did I do that?
I don't know. Try again. You good?
Stop breaking.
You don't have to worry about how to get it, right? Because you get it in the calculator. Not always.
I'm not
Sometimes
gonna-
it's around, but in this case, it worked out.
Well, mine says times 10 to the 8th, it's easy to answer, it's super helpful.
Got it?
Oh, just do times.
Your shit.
Oh, it's times. Oh, okay.
I'm doing.
All right.
That was right.
I thought she was recording.
So, what is your
Yeah.
shift?
Wait, that.
No, no, did you guys get it?
I don't get this all like, what's it equal?
Oh my goodness.
I can't see anything.
You guys get it?
That's 10.
Divided by one.
It does start at one.
Okay, so they're going to multiply by 10. No, the almost up.
Boom.
My sophomore year.
That's what I was gonna say, I've done this.
Just like that.
You would.
Do you see that? There's no 10, there's no multiplying, it's just the E and then the exponent, okay?
Yeah, I remember because I used to.
I never got paid
My
my
sophomore year.
last year.
10 times 10.
No, I didn't take tickets my sophomore
No.
year.
That's right.
Like shit.
I went online.
Because you had in there, you put a times 10 before the E on both of them, so you don't wanna put any of that in there, okay?
It was followed.
Did everybody get it? You think so? You're not sure?
I got it.
I'm judging you.
Okay.
It's just, I don't understand how, so I understand how you did this, but how'd you get to that? Like, I'm confused on anything before that.
Okay, well, one second. Okay.
That's why I don't want it. You just gotta make it like.
And then divide by. And you're just gonna type that in, 1.15.
Now.
Doing something.
And then just the
Because I can body myself and I can focus, but you'll still know the ultimate level.
Okay, alright guys, so in any time that we are using our calculators and you don't remember how to enter that number, just ask me. I'm not testing you over whether or not you can use your calculator. I'm testing you over, do you understand this? I have students every year who get everything set up correctly and then get the wrong answer because they entered it into the calculator wrong. So I don't have a problem showing you how to use your calculator, but you have to be able to set it up properly. I will tell you how to enter what you have written on your paper. Whether that's right or wrong is all, that who knows, okay? So, did we get that?
Yeah.
Are we good?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So I would like for you to look at, Jaden says no. Jaden says no. I would like for you to look at, the paper that I gave you today. Yep. So there's a lot of stuff on here that you're not gonna be able to do yet, and that's okay. There's some questions on the other paper you're not gonna be able to do yet, and that's okay. The ones I'm assigning for homework that I'm checking on Tuesday. Questions at the top, 1, 2, 3. And then question 8A. 1, 2, 3, and 8A. And I don't expect you to do these on paper that you're gonna turn into me. Do these in your notes. I'm gonna come around and check it just like I always have. I'm not gonna collect it. So, 1, 2, and 3, and 8A. And then, these questions I'm having to fit them two papers, so that doesn't make sense. The other questions are extra questions to help you just work through some of the things that you might still be struggling with. There are questions on here, we still haven't covered everything, I mean, we're not even close to being done with this unit, it's a very long unit. So we're gonna get to the next part where we're calculating energies next week, okay? So we're only working on wavelength and frequency right now. Do you guys have any questions about that?
No.
All right, well, one more thing I need to teach you before we're done. This is going to
Make a break.
blow some of your minds. I don't even know. I'm a little nervous myself. But let me go ahead and turn this off. Yeah, you know it's never good when I have to turn off the projector. There we go. If anybody's interested in seeing the band, I mean, I can hear them. You can go to the windows and watch them.
Maddie, this is so sad.
I am. All right, we'll take a break for a minute so that you guys can watch the band.
Let's see, let's rip that back up, yo. If it's the group senior picture, my mom's gonna strike with me. Yeah, my mom. Yeah, my mom's striking with me. I didn't think you could get that, bro. Who said that we could get that?
Please excuse the interruption. We have a couple of brief announcements. First of all, boys varsity golf is tonight at Jackson Center High School at 4 p.m. Girls varsity golf is at Cherokee Hills tonight at 5. We have our 7th and 8th grade football team starting at 5:30 tonight versus Milton Union. We also have our JV and varsity girls volleyball. They're home tonight versus Sydney Lansing. So we wish you all the best with your contest. And then tomorrow night we have our football team inside Sydney. Away, we wish all of our Pirates good luck. Boys and girls, tomorrow, when there is no school, staff, please report by 7:30. We will begin promptly at 7:30 in the auditorium. And then Monday again, Labor Day, so there will be no school. Our final announcement is our band is playing and cheering on our athletic team. Congratulations. Well, last April during the COVID shutdown, she was selected by Shine FM 88.5 Teacher of the Month. We do have a poster they just delivered today. That'll go outside her room. We thought it was important for all staff and students to know, and we congratulate her. This concludes announcements. Have a great day, everyone.
Okay.
What's going on?
Kilo.
Is that just
We're
a
learning them.
Oh, no, we're done.
All right. So on the back of the first page of your packet, on the back.
Now.
And I probably need to adjust this, and I haven't had a chance to do it yet. I don't know. We'll see how it works right now.
Yoda, oh my god.
Yeah.
Yocto.
So
Yocto.
we have some of the problems that I give you in the packet or in those papers to do. The wavelengths aren't measured in meters, and you have to have your wavelengths in meters because the speed of light is in meters per second, and not everything will cancel out properly if you don't put it in the proper unit. So I have 450.0 nanometers written on the board, and we have to figure out how to get that converted into meters so that you can actually solve the problem. Okay? Now, before we talk about how we do this, we got to talk about this back of the first page in your packet. And I don't know if you have highlighters with you, or colored pencils, or a crayon, or a pen that's of a different color. Something that you can somehow use. I actually have some highlighters if you want them. It's gonna be easier if you just highlight it now, and we don't have to worry about it for a while. We'll just get the highlighters. It's fine. Who needs a highlighter?
Jaden does.
Fighting over the highlighter. Who else needs a highlighter?
Everyone at the board is number one.
I'm so
So, anybody else? Okay. So what I want you to do is, see where my line is?
Yeah.
Between Deca and Desi, you're going to highlight the line. Not Deca, not Desi, the line between them. Okay. I feel like they're in the building now.
Why are we still here then?
Been playing for a
The whole
while.
line or just the one line?
There's
The whole
only
line.
like 13 of them too.
I'm not sure.
Like two.
So I highlighted mine in yellow. I know you can't see it clearly, but can you see my yellow line goes all the way across? Okay, so, what I also want you to do is label that. Label it as base.
Just the line.
Just a line, label it base. So when we make measurements, we can make measurements in a lot of different units. Bless you. We can make measurements in a lot of different units, and sometimes those units have prefixes and sometimes they do not. So I want to give you an example. This is a meter stick. It is 1 meter long. But how many centimeters are there? There are 100 centimeters. So even though it's measuring the same amount, 1 meter and 100 centimeters, one of those has a prefix and the other one does not, right? So meter is our base unit, and centimeter has a prefix on it, has the prefix centi. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
So our our base units tend to be meters, liters, grams, and moles. Those are our big four. Yeah, we'll get to that in the second chunk of the year. It's a fun one though. I really enjoy working with it. It makes life so much easier, but students, it's a struggle a little bit. Okay. So, those are our base units. If I'm measuring something in a meter, it doesn't have a prefix, that's my base unit. If I measure the same thing, but I measure it in centimeters, centi has a prefix on it, and it's not at our base. Okay? For wavelengths, the number I have on the board is in nanometers. Nanometers, it represents 1 times 10 to the negative 9 meters. So below milli, we've got micro, whoops, nano, and it continues on beyond that. I'll go ahead and put pico up here. So we've got several below milli. Does everybody see that? Here's the problem. Deci, centi, milli, those all jump by a power of 10. So in order to go from deci to centi, we have to multiply or divide by 10. 10 to the first, right? Just 1 10. Centi to milli, it's a jump of 10 to the first. So we're either multiplying or dividing by 10. But, and you'll notice that those are bolded. Are they bolded?
Yeah.
You'll notice that those are bolded. I did that so that you would see that. Hopefully that would cue you to pay attention. If we want to go from milli to micro, it's 1,000, which is 10 to the third. Everything after the 6 that are bolded is a jump of 10 to the third, or 1,000. So we have to multiply or divide by 1,000 for every one of those outside of the 6 that are bolded.
Should we be writing this with our highlighter?
I wouldn't do anything on your paper with highlighter yet, okay? I'll show you what I did, but I wouldn't do it yet.
Alright.
aside from the big line. Okay, now, we need to get from nanometers to meters, which means we need to figure out how many times we move our decimal, because if I take this number and I multiply by 10, I'm just literally moving my decimal one time. If I divide by 10, I'm moving it the other way one time. We have to figure out how many times we're multiplying or dividing by 10, so we know how many times we have to move our decimal. I am jumping from nano, that's another 10 to the third. So let's count those. We're heading towards our base, because we need to get into meters. So to go from nano to micro, how many tens is that? 3. I need to go from micro to milli, how many tens is that? 3 more. I need to go from milli to centi. 1. And then from centi to deci. 1. And then from deci to base. I need to move my decimal place 9 times. 9 times. Here's the next thing. So we're gonna, let me write that up here. 9 times. Okay. So, let's go back to meters and centimeters. Which unit is bigger, a meter or a centimeter? A meter, right? A meter is this long, and a centimeter is that long. Okay. So, a meter is a bigger unit. A centimeter is smaller. Are there more centimeters in a meter or more meters in a centimeter? Centimeters in a meter. There are 100 centimeters in 1 meter. So if the unit is bigger, the number is smaller. I'm going to say that one more time. One meter equals 100 centimeters. If the unit is bigger, like a meter is bigger, the number is smaller. There are 1 of those compared to the 100 centimeters. Does that make sense? So if nanometers is really small, because everything at the bottom of that table is small, and meters is bigger, should our number get bigger or smaller? Smaller. The meter is bigger unit, the number must get smaller. So which way do we move our decimal? We're going to move it to the left. Does that make sense to everyone? We're going to move it 9 times. So here's our decimal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is the location of our new decimal. And I fill in all these spots with zeros. So our new answer in meters is 0 point. We're going to have 6 zeros. 4, 5, 0, 0. And that's in meters. Now we have to put in scientific notation.
Wait,
Wait, hold on, do
we're
we,
not there yet?
No,
Oh.
do we put the, is there 2 zeros only in or 1?
there's 2. See the 2?
So we always have to put a 0 behind the decimal?
No. There are rules that govern it. Don't worry about it right now.
God, I can't believe
If those zeros are there, if they're not there, it's not gonna change your view of the number. It will after we get the rules. Okay?
I'm sorry.
That's all right.
So between nano and pico, it's 10 to the third. And does it continue to be 10 to the third
Yes.
every now?
Yes.
What about going up?
Beyond kilo, everything is 10 to the third.
Okay.
Yep. Okay, so now let's go ahead and put this in scientific notation. Do you guys know how to do that, or do I need to go through it?
Is that just the?
All right, let's go through it, just real quick. So, scientific notation is in the form of a stem times 10, and then we have to have a power up here. That number is really tiny, so is our exponent going to be positive or negative?
Negative.
It's going to be negative. Okay. Now, the number of times we move our decimal is the exponent. I need to move this decimal however many spots until it's after the first non-zero number. What's the first non-zero number? 4. So let's move it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this exponent is negative 7.
4.5.
And I'm going to put 4.500 on this line. So my scientific notation is 4.500 times 10 to the negative 7 meters.
Are we gonna do this for all our answers?
Not really. But if your wavelength isn't in meters, you have to do that before you can start the problem.
Okay, so do the
some others are mine.
But we got homework questions.
Yeah,
So-
Kale. That means we don't get
Yeah,
homework.
Kale. Here's the problem with 8th period class. And it doesn't matter what class you're in, right? 8th period, you're like, you've been thinking all day, you've been sitting all day, you're just done, you're tired, you're worn out. And I'm sorry to tell you that 8th period chemistry,
Sucks.
it does. But it's also probably not gonna change. So, yeah. I hear you.
Physics proposal.
Do I highlight that?
You know what, keep the highlighters.
No.
Keep them, and then you might need them later.
You don't want us to give them back to you?
What?
You don't want us to give them back to you?
No, keep 'em.
Corona time?
It's all right.
So here's something else I want to tell you. In classroom, I will be posting these videos in classroom, so if you need to watch it again, if you need to watch it a couple of times, let me know. Something else, if you need additional help, like if you need more practice with scientific notation, let me know, because I might be able to find some short videos that will help. That you can watch on a Saturday morning so that you're awake. Also, in classroom, and I forgot to tell the other class this, so help spread the word. I am going to post a picture of my periodic table that is colored and labeled. I'm going to ask that you make your periodic table look similar to mine. The colors don't matter. You can make it any color you want, just make sure you have a little key. But the numbers, the prefixes, all that other stuff that's on there, you need to include. Okay? So I'm going to post that in classroom this weekend, maybe tomorrow. Depends on how much time I have. Okay?
I did find my periodic table from freshman
Whew.
year. It was in like a binder. I don't know why I
I
kept
have
it.
mine. It's downstairs, just at the filing cabinet with 9 binders.
Yeah.
I just gotta do it.
I'll tell you what, when I was in high school and I was finishing up, I was like, you know what, I'm never going to touch this stuff again. I'm going to throw it out. And that's true. I never touched it again.